Hello everyone, welcome to Jeongeun webinar series. My name is Jill and I'm an aging state specialist in Iowa State University. Today I'll be presenting social network analysis and potential ways to apply this analysis to our extension work. This is today's agenda. First, I will introduce the social network analysis and we'll go over some of the basic things. Then I'll present some key terminologies used in SNA. There are some interesting studies and ways to study on social network analysis. So I'll share some of the ways how this analysis can be used to study extension systems and networks. One thing I'd like to let you know is that the purpose of today's talk is not teaching or showing you how to conduct social network analysis. The aim of this talk is to introduce you this approach and show you how this analysis can address our needs within extension. So what is social network analysis? Analysis is a method by which one can analyze the connections across individuals or groups or institutions. That is, it allows us to examine how individuals or entities are interrelated. It also provides both a visual and mathematical analysis of human relationships. When do we use social network analysis? Especially when you are studying a social network with an extension system, either offline, online, or when you wish to understand how to improve the service delivery or the effectiveness of the network. Or when you want to visualize your data to uncover some of the patterns in relationship or interactions, because it focused on interaction between each player instead of an individual behavior. Or when you want to follow the path that information follows in social network. You want to see how the rumors spread out. Using the social network analysis, also point out the person who actually started the rumor or started the information. Facebook is known for social network, right? But it's actually surprisingly that there is no easy solution to visualize your Facebook network. It used to be available, but because of the confidentiality and privacy issues, they stopped providing the service. So, but still you can do it by using your own Facebook contact. So you can download your Facebook friends list, scrap the data, and then visualize your social network using some software such as R or Phytone. And based on your posting, your friends' replies, or how frequent they contact with you through Facebook, you will use all this information and they will create the map of individual who has closer or distant relationships with you, as you can see in the pictures. You may have heard about or even played with the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. Inspired by 6 degrees of separation, the theory that nobody is more than 6 relationships away from each other in the world. The game was actually initially created by 3 college students who, after they watched the movie of Kevin Bacon. As interesting as it sounds, the gist of a social network analysis is based on this notion that most individuals are connected, although the strength of the relationship can differ. As stated earlier, the fundamental building block of this using analysis is a relationship between individual or relationship between groups. It can also serve as an X-ray of your organization by providing the overall structure of the network. You can see how it really works, how information flows, how knowledge is exchanged or shared, or who goes to whom for advice. So it provided information about the organization and efficiency of information dissemination, as well as the key players of the social network. In terms of data collection for social network analysis, it's very similar to any other data collection we know in our research or practice. The major difference is that the focus, the focus and the unit of analysis are the relationship and its characteristics. So when data collection occurs, usually the questions are focused on their relationship, the strength of the relationships, as well as the direction of the influence. As you see on the right side table, you can include questions related to their relationship with each other or the strength of the relationships. Researchers sometimes use observation method by recording other people's behavior in a certain moment, and then they generate the data. The problem is that it requires all the social network members should be present at the time. So some ethnographers who study a tribe and the person who believes that all the network members are in the scene, they sometimes use observation method to figure out the social network within the tribes. But that's in social science, it's rare at this point. These are the key terms that social network analysis often uses, and I will explain more in detail in the following slide. So the size of the network often include nodes, or the ties or the links. So number of nodes, the people in a network, or the number of links, so social connections, relationship between the nodes. They are the main idea of the size of the network. So if you see on the social network analysis visualization, and if you see many nodes are present, that means the size of the network is larger. So node is the actor or people, or it can be a system, or it can be a group or an organization. And the tie, it often indicates the relationship between the two nodes. So as you can see, if there are many links between the nodes, it means the network is busy and the size is larger. Cohesiveness often refers to the degree with which an individual is nearer to all others in a network, either directly or indirectly. In terms of measuring cohesiveness, people use the number of components or density, the extent to which nodes are interconnected. So if average distance between nodes are larger, as can be seen in this blue circle, that means it takes longer from one node to another compared to the nodes in the red circle. Does it make sense? So the cohesiveness is basically how concentrated you are, how much you are connected with each other, and how much dense your relationship and networks are between the links. Centrality often includes the degree betweenness and closeness. So this indicates how central a node is to the network or how peripheral it is. The degree of a node is basically the number of edges that it has. So the notion is that nodes with more connections are more influential and important in a network. You may have heard about Queen Bee, who is more influential than others in the high school scene. Or, in other words, the person with a higher friends count in a social network, like a friend's Facebook or Twitter account, or the more cited paper in a scientific citation network, is the one who is more central according to this metric. As you can see the picture, the yellow node is more central and critical influencer compared to the violet colored nodes. So what are the steps for conducting this social network analysis? If you are planning to conduct this analysis, there are several recommended steps. And they're actually similar to any other research analysis, but this visualization. First, you need to develop the study question. And if you are interested in individual behaviors or predictors of individual behavior, this analysis is not suitable for your question. But if you are interested in your group dynamic, organization functioning, or identification of key players in their interactions or community, this analysis will be helpful. Second, You will have to either select the data you use or you have to collect your own data. But the key thing is the data should include individual information as well as their connection to other network members. So let's say you are interested in a medical provider's network to figure out whom to talk to for the purpose of promoting your program. You should include the survey questions such as their reference group or decision makers network members and how often, how frequently, how close their relationships are. In terms of analysis, actual analysis, you'll be surprised there are so many ways to examine social network. There is no set way of undertaking the analysis. But most likely, if you are using any types of software, you're likely to ask questions such as group size, cohesiveness, and centrality, which I mentioned earlier. And the visualization can be easily done with many software. I prefer to use UCNet, a very relatively lower cost software. But if you find it, you will find so many visualization tools out there. Some programs such as Gephi relies on open source code, so you can customize your findings to meet your own needs. Finally, interpretation requires your input. Visual data only shows the data tells them. So it's your job to dissect the information, dissect the findings into meaningful information. I'm just going to show you a very brief, just very short example of social network analysis. Well, simple communication between individuals can be drawn as follows. So Sam started a conversation with Jill. They'll tell Kelly to dinner to come to the dinner tonight, and then who turn into Jill, who turn into Kelly to invite them for the dinner. So Kelly, you and Isha are invited to our dinner. It confirms with Isha to see if she heard from Kelly, and Kelly let Isha know that she's invited to the dinner party, and Isha thanks Sam for inviting her. Simple, isn't it? So if you are interested in a very simple observation just like this, you can use just these diagrams to show how each members are connected, how the conversation flow from one to another. Another way to use the social network analysis is using this concentric circles. Personal network visualization in the form of concentric circles can be used. This approach, like particularly for this example, the 3 concentric circles provide a framework for the participant to draw their personal networks. You may have seen this in many caregiving studies where care recipients or caregivers are located in the center. So each circle contains points that are equal in terms of the level of contribution or distance towards a caregiver or care recipient. Typically, this diagram is provided on a sheet of paper to all participants, and each participant is asked to place contact within different rings on the diagram. So the core of the framework is a solid red circle where a caregiver or care recipient stand. Point in the first circle closest to the core have higher concentration to the caregiver or care recipient. Points further away on the edge have low or no contribution to the caregiver or care recipients. By aggregating all the egocentric information, you could see who are likely to maintain close relationship but has many layers such as friends and family, or who are likely to remain close but their relative ties to caregiver or care recipients are similar across individuals. They actually, to understand the reach and network of the cooperative extension system, these 2 investigators use social network analysis to determine the diversity and reach of cooperative extension programs delivered by Penn State Extension. Using SurveyMonkey, they collected data on various programs offered by the extension system and their associated stakeholders from all 7 state program leaders, and then state extension team members, and the director of extensions. So they also verified the list of the programs and stakeholders information with the available information on their website as well. As you can see, like there are some clicks, it's like shaped between A and B and C and D. So these findings kind of reveal that a lot of interesting information. That is that they were able to kind of, of course, like their extension network is widely distributed and has a lot of extension reach in the community. But also this network comprised of two clusters, like A and B, as you can see. And they kind of used the line to divide these two groups. Each cluster involved with different types of programs, right? So the clustering usually indicates the teams that were part of a cluster served similar stakeholders. Some teams such as 4-H or livestock team, they were the isolates, indicating that they had a specialized stakeholders separate from team group A or group B. So it's kind of interesting, right? Like you see that how networks are related to each other, or what are the kind of inter-collaboration patterns, and like which network is more dense compared to the others, and which network has more bigger size compared to the others. So this kind of analysis can give you rich information about any existing group dynamics or collaboration or flow of information as well. If you are a fan of Game of Thrones, this visualized social network will really well resonate with you. A few months ago, two mathematicians actually published this in a Math Horizon magazine, where they analyzed a network of character interactions from the TV series Games of Thrones. In their paper, they kind of show how they constructed a network by using text analysis and some of the entity extraction to find characters mentioned together in the text. They also applied a social network analysis to algorithm to the network to find the most important characters in the network, and community taxation algorithm to find clusters of characters. Interesting, right? So, conclusion, social network analysis is a useful tool to improve our understanding of dynamic outreach networks and to serve target audience. It also provides valuable information such as key stakeholders, internal collaboration across teams and programs. Finally, it can provide you the tools to allocate resource more efficiently. When you know the key players, when you know how the information flows from one to another, you can kind of target your effort and resource to that key players. Okay, so if you have any questions, comments, or you'd like to learn more, please email me and I'll be happy to answer your questions. And please use the link, complete the evaluation of this webinar. I appreciate your feedback. Thank you.